So that is it. And got my app.js. You can see this is my app.js. Render the user, the post, and the content account. And this is simple function. These are my simple functions of account, and this is what it does. We go to the page and you can see this is my page. This is for the user, this is for the post, and this is for the account. So in today's lecture, I'll be teaching you how to dispatch and push, or you can say push data to this our user component, or this our user, and how to also for the post and the count for increasing, for incrementing, and for decrementing, so that you can understand the flow of Redux and React. You can understand the flow of Redux inside the React component and understand Redux talk, also redux.js/toolkit. It's okay. So right now, we first of all will be installing Redux Toolkit, the package, the library that will help us to integrate this. So first of all, I'll quit my terminal and run npm install at redux.js/toolkit. This is the library that will allow us to use Redux. It's very easy, very easy, and this library will help us to use Redux. And in order for we to connect our app, to connect our app to listing for Redux, for changes from our Redux store and dispatching, we need another library, which is the React Redux. These two package is the only so these two libraries from the npm package is the only library we need to install in order to work with Redux in this our component in a React application. So we go ahead and click enter to download the package inside of this our component. And go ahead, you can see we already have React DOM and React icon. So what React does is that Redux does is that Redux is a standalone JavaScript library for state management in our application, that it will allow us to pass state to our application without to sync state in our application wherever we need it without passing through props, as the way they call it, draining of props. So we don't need to drain props from the parent component all the way to the student component by passing them through component to component. Instead, we use a state library, which is Redux, which allows it to manage it efficiently and more scalable for our application, and it's also a best practice. So right now, I will just allow this to complete. This download to complete. I will pause the video, and when it is done installing React Redux and Redux.js/toolkit, toolkit. Then once it is done, I will come back and can continue from there. Okay, you can see is you can see React Router, the latest version 9.2, then Redux Redux Toolkit 2.9, 2.9, the latest. So you can go ahead and create this. So in order to use Redux in our application, so that you can feed data to this component, this component, whatever component you have inside of this app, which is the parent component, whatever data you have, which is inside of the app component or whatever it is. Okay, so you can see we are done installing. The package. So what we want to do now is that we want to make the connection between Redux and React, and this is our React component over here. So this is the project we have. This is the project we'll be working on. But first, I want to be able to work on this user so that we can add the name, the username, and the email. Just you can take it as like an a full stack application that the server is sending the data to the front end and displaying those data on the front end. That you can take it like that, and that is what I put in mind for this video for user and for post. Then implementing, we'll come back to that. So let's go ahead and do it. So first, we want to be able to create a store. The first thing you want to do is to create a store. You can go ahead and create a store. With the first of all, we need to import something. From Redux JS slash toolkit, and our store will be a configure store. This is what we want to install. And we can give it here configure store, and it's an object that will take a user. This is our store, and save it inside of a variable, and we can call it store. Okay, right here now, we then install a package. We then use our library. Okay, now we have created the store. We have created our store. So now we need to import. We need to import. We need to import the connection. We need to create the connection between our store. This is our store, and our entire project, our entire the parent component, so that we can pass our data around with Redux. So go ahead and install something from the React Redux. Like I said that this library or this package, React Redux, it will allow us to make the connection between Redux and React. So that is exactly what we are doing here. I want to make the connection between Redux and React so that we can be able to pass our store to our React component so that our React component can listen for changes from the Redux store and the user. So we install a provider, and we have to wrap our entire project with this provider. That's how it's done. We wrap our entire project. You have to wrap your entire project with this provider to wrap your app or your main, whatever. But make sure it is wrapping your roots. Your roots, as you can see, I'm using it here inside my roots, not inside of my app, but inside of my main component, which is where this create roots and the render occurred. So then we now pass the value as a prompt to then this store is this store. You can name it whatever you want. So I name it store to make it easy. So we have built the connection between the store, our Redux store, and our our goods component. So the store now can be able to listen for changes. But for now, we need to prepare a reducer for this store. So we'll go ahead and let me create a new folder. And this folder I will just name it, let's say Redux. Then inside I will create a reducer. Okay, inside the Redux I will create, okay, let's say user, because we want to be able to use our component, want to be able to have a user, a post, and a count component. So users.js, name JS, because we are not rendering a JSS syntax here. So go ahead. First, I want to be able to import something as well inside our reducer. I want to be able to import something from our Redux library. We want to be able to install something, and this something is our create slides. Create slides. This create slides, it allows us, our create slides allows us to be able to run actions and also run actions and run reducer inside of it. So create slides. So can be able to go ahead and create the slides, then pass it as a function. Then inside take the first argument you want to pass. First one you want to pass is the name. And in this our state we say user. Say the user. And the second one is our initial state. And our initial state can just be an array that have our initial state can just be an array. You can see an array that has a name. Okay, be able to add like that and dispatch. So you can see our initial state will have a name. Our name can just be null for now. Then the username will just be null for now as well. Then what again we need to add? Let's add an ID. Let's add an ID of lesson 1. Okay, we can go ahead with this for now. Later we can add more. Then the next third argument is your reducers. And these are our reducers. The first thing we want to do is that we want to be able to like edit this component. We want to be able to add to this our state. We want to be able to edit our state. We want to be able to delete our state. Delete a user from this our state and so on, and also delete from this. So first I will say let's add user. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just using the add. I'm just using this name. So you give it a name function and pass in an object. And inside this object takes two parameters: the state and the action. Then inside of this we can, let's say, console and see what our data looks like. Then you can see our action, and let's just say add user so that we can know that it's coming from here. Then we want to go ahead and export this. We just name it, store it inside a variable. We say user slice, something like that. You can use whatever name you want. And I can go ahead and export this, export the user slice dot reducer. You will be asking why we are exporting this, why we are exporting with dot reducer, because in this our reducer that we are you are asking why. This will look challenging to you, but if you console.log this component, this script slice, can go ahead and console.log this so that I can show you what it looks like. User slice, okay. Let's just say user slice so that I want to show you what's inside of the user slice coming from number 16. So you can go ahead and run npm run dev so that we can run according to this package, according to npm run div to run our React application. I want to show you something on this. Okay, this is a great one. It said store does not have a valid reducer. Make sure the argument passed to the combined reducer is an object whose value are reducers. So this makes sense. What he's saying is that this reducer is created but is not known. So how do we make it to be known? We go ahead to our main component where we create our store. Yeah, so we import our reducer. The reducer we just created from the slash reducer slash user.js. Then we can omit the JS extension. Then we can just say users and we pass it user. This okay, can go ahead and create it first. First of all, which is this our users. So like I was saying, we need to import this. We need to import this project. Like we did here, we did the export default user slide.reducer. We didn't use the name export, so go ahead and remove it and just say user reducer. You can name it whatever you want. So just say user reducer here. Go ahead and save the file and go ahead and inspect. Reload the page. You can see our user slide, which is coming from users.js, which is from our reducer. And when I expand this, you can see we have the actions, we have the case reducer, we have the get initial state, we have the get selectors, we have the inject into, we have the name, which we specify here inside of our case like this user. You can see the connection. Then the reducer is, you can see, has two, which is state and the action, which we already did. Then we have the reducer part, we have the select slides, we have the selectors. So this is the reducer that I was going to show you inside of this project that we export here. I hope this is clear. So we can go ahead now. I've already made the connection, you can see it displaying it, so you can go ahead now currently and just say okay, I want to create an action. This is add user action consider. So we need to also export this action. That is how the create slides works with the Redux Toolkit. So we have to go ahead and export it as well. So we say, and we need to export it in a destruction way. So that is it. So we need to export it, and we need to export it then we need to export it, which is now the user slides dot actions with the actions. This is what we are exporting there. So this is it. So this is now our app, which is listing. We are now listing for the state. So I want to be able to pass this data. I want to be able to have smart. We already created our states. This is as a recap. You can see we already created our states, and this our state has an ID of one name null, username null for now. So we want to be able to get this data to our user so that we can see it here. So the way we do it is that we import something from the React Redux package as well, and this something is a okay, the React Redux, and this something is the use selector function, and put it outside of our return statement. So say we can just name state. Okay, you can just name it user state. Okay, you understand it. You understand. So you can just say use selector, and it takes one argument, which is the state. So you can say state dot the name of our counter, which is this name from our main. The name will specify here exactly the name here. Copy this name. This is the name we want to use it here. Not this name. We are not using this name, but instead this name. Okay, go ahead and state.user name. Come here and maybe we destructure it. Okay, destruction, and we just say user state. Okay, so like I said, so not here. I'm going inside and just put the use state here. Okay, the user state. Okay. But put in mind that this user state is an array here, and we are returning an array which should not be this. Rather, we are supposed to be mapping through an array. And you can see we have an error here. What do you say? See, React hooks use selector is called in function users that is neither a React function component nor a custom React hooks function. React component names must start with an uppercase letter. React hooks name must start with the word use. Okay, so what it is saying now is that we are using smaller letter here, and we are calling this function. We are calling this use selector function instead of this function, which is referring, which has a variable, which has a function name that has a smaller letter. So the solution now here is that we want to be able to use the first word and uppercase. Same thing goes for the bottom. On the export, the uppercase, you can see the error is gone. So like I said, this return a state, this return this value, this initial value state. Everything inside this initial state returns it. I can prove it to you by console.logging this, and we can just say the user state, which is coming from this, and then just say checking to see where it's coming from. You can see checking. If I expand it, you will be able to see it's an array that has these values. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove the export. So we'll be able to map to it now, so that we can display the data. So right here now, to be able to map to it. If you don't know how to map, this is the way to map to an array of elements. So we go ahead and say the user state, which is the array, the user state dot map. We can just say you as the user. Sorry, go ahead and got this. Then you now not pass a keyword. Okay, let me leave this away. Okay, for those who know it, let me just use the u. Okay, let's remove it. I will explain this for you later. So we can go ahead and just say u dot username. Okay, u dot think is the name. Yeah, we are referring to name and the username. U dot username. Okay, we need to add an email. Use dot email. We'll go ahead and add an email to the field. Add an email to it, and you can see. So if we go back and reload, wow, it's displaying the data here. And you can see each child in a list should have a unique key prompt. Say check the render method of div. It was pass a child from users. What it's saying is that you can go ahead and delete one of these. React will not be able to detect which of the user we deleted because we need to pass a key prompt so that React can tell that, hey, this is the user that was deleted based on the ID. So we can go ahead and pass the ID with the keyword with the user u.id, and this ID you have to make sure is unique. It's coming from this. You have to make sure it's unique. If we go ahead and check, okay, each child in a list should have it's still there. Why is it there? Let's go ahead and see. Okay, let's see. Okay, underscore. We are using underscore ID there. We'll go ahead and change it to underscore ID. This is not there anymore. So we are displaying the data here. We are displaying the data, and I can prove it to you by just going and maybe changing a one value. Let's just go and change. Let's just say this value should be like, let me just put my name over there and just go ahead and check. You will see over there. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Yes, is that it will know that it's working. So we can just put our default value back. Okay, and just make it a little bit unique so that we can differentiate. So right now we already have this function, this action function. We are not saying anything that we are using it for. We have already talked how to get a state from our Redux here by using the use selector hooks from React Redux, which pass one argument and return the state dot our store reducer is. I hope this is clear. Then we can be able to retrieve our state with that. So we are mapping here now. This function is here, it's not doing anything, and we already exported it. So how do we make use of this function? This is our action. So we want to be able to dispatch an action into this our state, into this our store, and retrieve that action. Let's assume that we are building a full stack application and the backend send a data from the server and send it to the front end, and this front end is using Redux. This front end needs to dispatch that action into our store, and when we dispatch our store, we will be able to retrieve it with the use selector hook from React Redux. So let's build the connection here. So we have already done, as you can see, the action, add user, So we can, okay, here we want to use it. You can just go ahead now and create a function which will dispatch. We'll just say add user and you can take this as, okay, sorry, no arguments, because we are not returning any arguments. Then inside this function, we are able to let's just say data, let's just say user data, and has an object for simplicity and faster code, so that we won't waste much of your time. We just go ahead and copy this and add a unique data to it. So I will just say this is coming from number 2, and this has a name of there. You can go ahead and put whatever you can go ahead and put your name there, or whatever name of your friends, or any name of your choice. And the username, I can just say there. Okay. The email, I will just say there at gmail or at test.com. Okay, this is it. So then the next thing I want to do, we want to dispatch this action. So first of all, we need to import something from this Redux, React Redux, and this is the use dispatch hook. This dispatch hook will be able to allow us to dispatch, that means to send the data to our create slides. This use selector will be able to retrieve those data. That is what it does. So okay, first of all we need to name it. Let's just name it dispatch, and the use dispatch hook, which is this function. I will store inside this variable. So it says dispatch, which is this dispatch. Then we want to dispatch an action, and the action we want to dispatch is this our action that we exported here, add user. So this add user, we need to import this file, so we'll be able to use it. We need to import it here. So import. Okay, so we want to be able to import the add user. Okay, from we go. Okay, we are inside the say. Okay, dot slash, go to the Redux slash users reduce, and this add, you can see we need to is the action we are getting from our create slides. So how this will add this user, then it's a function. Take note, because it's a function. Inside of the create slides, it takes two arguments, the state and the action. But inside of this our function, our React function, it takes a single argument. Take note, it takes a single argument, and this our single argument is this our data here, which is our user data. that we want to dispatch to. We want to dispatch it to. So this is the connection. Then you can go ahead now and create a button for a click on it to trigger it. So you can say add user button, and so on click event to run the add user handler function, which is this function here. So this is the connection, this is it. You can go ahead and you see because we are dispatching, we are consoling it, we are putting it to the console. So let's go ahead and load in. You can see. Then if I click on add, you can see the add is coming from our users.js line 11. And when I expand this a little bit, you see the type is coming. The type is user slash add user, and what Redux does is that it combines your slide, the name of your slides, and the action to produce the type. To produce the type, you have to take note, which is what it does is that inside of this create slides, what Redux does is that you can see our name, which is the user. It combine the user, uh, it concatenates, like we call it in programming, concatenate, which is joining two string or joining two string to become one, which is concatenate and add a slash. Because what it does is like this. It's like it adds our name, which is our user here, this name slash, then the add user is, then this becomes our type. You get, if we have another type that has add user post, something like that, it becomes add user post. Are you getting me? Yes. So that is how it creates our type for us. Then you can see, okay, go ahead and click it one more time. You can see our it has, then it adds, then give us this value payload, then what we are dispatching and the ID. Okay, so we can go ahead now and render it inside of this our function. So you can just, because we are adding, so we'll be pushing to our user. So we can go ahead and run an if check to check of our action.payload. If it's not equals to, if it's equals to undefined, if it's equals to undefined, what do? We have to return so that to not continue. We have to return. Okay. Then if it succeeds, like that means we have action.payload is not equals to undefined. We have it as a data. We can go ahead and dispatch and add it to the store. So then here now we call state. This state now is now listening for this state. So state, so we say state dot, so state, this state now is now referencing to this our state. So right now that state says state, which is an array, state dot push. This push is a JavaScript object that allows us to push to the data. So we can just say push action.payload can just push everything inside of our action. Okay, let's go ahead and run this and see our data in action. Okay, as we click on it, you can see our data is now rendering successfully. Yes, we have succeeded in pushing, or you can say adding, a user to our existing list of users. So in the next video, yes, yeah, in the next chapter, I'll be showing you how to edit this